How do you live past 100? I'm Dr. Michael Smith, and today I'm going to talk about 10 things that you can do to fill your life with purpose, to help you live healthy and happy, and make the most of whatever time you have on earth. It might not be 100 years old, but here's some things that I've learned. And to do so, I'm sharing some experiences that I've had with a man that I call my grandfather, who is actually celebrating his birthday today, December 23rd. His name is Lowell Hicks. Lowell was born in Grantsville, Utah on December 23rd, 1913. 1913. Today he would be 112 years old. And so this is a birthday tribute to him. He passed when he was 104 years old. And if you thought that was amazing, you can also, I'm going to tell you more about him, and you can learn about how more amazing he was and still is in my family. He is the great grandfather of my wife, and I got to know Lowell right after, kind of actually right before we got married. I had graduated from university. We were moving up to another city so that my wife could continue her degree, and we needed a place to live. And the only place that we could find that was very easy was the basement of my wife's great grandparents, Lowell and Bernice. Bernice was still with us at that time. She passed while we were there at, I believe, 97 or 98 years old. It was a wonderful, tender time, and I'm grateful that I could be part of it. We lived with Lowell for a little over a year, probably about 15 months. And during that time, I was able to get to know a man who has lived a long, rich, full life. He did so many things for so many people, and I'm excited to tell you about them in context of 10 things that I was thinking about in context of his life, things that we can do in our lives to be healthy and happy and more fulfilled in all that we do. And as a naturopathic doctor, that's really all that I'm doing. I'm helping people find purpose, find answers, find healing, find joy. Because when we're healthy, we're able to experience joy better. And that is one of the things that defined Grandpa Hicks for me. So these 10 things, they're not going to necessarily apply to everybody, but I believe that they are amazing universal principles that we can apply in our lives. And I'm excited to share them in context of Grandpa Hicks. So number one, surround your life with music. Grandpa Hicks, Lowell, was a musician in every sense of the word. He played the piano. He also played marimba. He's played the xylophone. He played the vibraphone, all these mallet instruments, and he was really good at them. During the Great Depression, he would play music on the radio. Back in the day, before they had the computers and could do all these fancy sounds, they'd have a live orchestra, and he was part of that. He played music in bands. He played piano at church. He taught music, and it was a big part of his life and a part of his family's life. And one fun thing, and I'll share the link to in the description below, is a recording of him playing on the marimba, playing Rimsky-Korsakov's "Flight of the Bumblebee." And I think he was about 100 years old at that time. I invite you to check that one out. He loved music. Music can enrich our lives. It helps us find a voice. It helps us find purpose and healing. When we sing, it actually is a way of expressing the emotion. In the Chinese medicine realm, music or singing is tied to our lungs. We think about that in maybe in context of grief or other things. And that's just one example, but there's abundant research that shows how music wires our brains. Those kids who do music as part of their growing up can do better in math and can do better in so many other things. And I think it's so important to incorporate music in our lives, not just what we hear on the radio, but really studying it, learning it. Lowell taught music in middle school and high school. I think mostly middle school, but also high school for a long time. One quick anecdote: he was teaching at West Jordan junior high school, I believe it was, in West Jordan, Utah. And he just felt that he was teaching orchestra, a band, or music choir. He's teaching an ensemble class, and he just felt like there was something off. He heard something, ended up pulling the fire alarm. Everybody evacuated the building, and then the building collapsed. So he's known as a hero in sense of saving a lot of students from a building that was in the middle of collapsing, and in part because of his music. And I think music can save us in times of um, darkness, hard times, things like that. We're in the middle of the Christmas season. How amazing music is in that as we celebrate, as we think, and the power that music has. Number two, Lowell enjoyed food. Now, if you knew Lowell, if you stopped by his house when he was living, he lived by himself. He had a living caretaker for him and Bernice, and then just after Bernice passed, just for him. He had four main food groups: root beer, chocolate, Oreos, and cookies. Some variation of that. It really reminds me of Buddy the Elf from the movie Elf when he says his favorite food groups are candy, candy cane, candy corn, and syrup. He thought the microwave was one of the best inventions in the world. Now, as a naturopathic doctor, I really don't love the microwave. I do use it, um, but I love the fact that he loved it and loved that he was able, empowered to cook food at 100 years old. I should have mentioned we lived with him when he was 101. He was in his own house, and that interaction was instrumental. And it was really changed me at a time when I was graduating. I graduated from school. I was trying to figure out my life, what I'm doing. I found a job from actually a neighbor that lived really close to Lowell, and being in Lowell's basement for those 15 or so months changed my life, in part because of the food. I loved him, and I believe it shows that it's not just what we eat, it's how we eat it. I talk to patients all the time, share with them the ideas of it's not just what we eat, it's how we eat it, the order of our foods, things like that. There's ideas from someone named the Glucose Goddess. You can visit her on social, website, book, a lot of really good things. That kind of an idea. But it's also the mentality and the intention that we bring to our food. Mindful eating, being purposeful in how we eat our food really defines rather how we experience that food, how it's metabolized in our body. Eating food, enjoying food is important. Number three, Lowell lived his life with purpose. He was always wanting to make his life better for other people. Um, Speaking of food, he would invite us to dinner, and this is a picture of him at his dining table, kind of preparing a meal. And you can see there's waffles, there's fruit, there are syrup. Yes, there's syrup. There's jams, jellies, other things. He loved serving people. I love this picture because this is one that I took when he was serving us. I think it was dinner, maybe lunch, maybe breakfast, but he had breakfast for dinner. It was great. Um, I loved. He always was serving people. One of the memories that I have was driving Lowell. We loaded his marimba into the back of his truck. He had a truck with a covered shell on the bed, so he could load his marimba into the bed. And he couldn't drive at that point, so I drove him to a care center, an assisted living place, and there he performed the marimba for people that were way younger than him. whose health was not as great. But he was there serving people, making a difference. And I believe that as we try to serve people and help their lives be better, our lives will be in return be so much better as well. Number 4 is to teach. Lowell loved to teach. I mentioned that he was a teacher in public school. He also taught students in private marimba lessons. He had a student, a teenage girl that came in every now and then for lessons. It was always fun to hear them play. I was able to get my one and only marimba lesson from him. I believe he was helping teach me the song "The Wells Fargo Wagon." There's a Wells Fargo wagon coming down the street. Anyway, that song, and it was really fun to play that and to learn a little bit. I had been grew up playing piano, so I picked it up. I think okay, but the mallets are so much different than the keys. He taught. He shared his knowledge with other people. As a naturopathic doctor, I love to teach as well. That's one of the principles of docere, or doctor as teacher. I always make sure that patients leave trying to be a little smarter than they were when they walked in. That's my goal. And I love teaching, and I love that I think that as we teach, as we impart our knowledge to other people, we are strengthening those neural synaptic connections in our brain. We understand things better, and we're able to better process and understand it ourselves. That's number 4. Number 5, to tap into your good genes. Lowell's great grandmother, Hilda Anderson Erickson, lived till she was 108 years old. So she lived till she was 108. Lowell's mom was 91, and Lowell was 104. It's amazing what genetics can do. And certainly there's lots of factors, and we don't always have those good inherited alleles for those genes, but we can really make the best of what we do have. And if there's things that are maybe not as ideal, we can clean them up. We can optimize them. The book Dirty Genes talks about that a little bit. By, who is it by? I'm blanking. Dr. Ben Lynch, of course. Dirty Genes by Dr. Ben Lynch. Talks about how we can clean up our dirty genes. If they're not perfect, there's so many things we can do to turn them on or turn them off to make their genes work. So regardless of what our pedigree has, we can find that. And I really am diving more and more into the realm of functional genomics, where we can do DNA testing and plug these genes into into a tree, a matrix, and be able to better understand what's going on with our genes. It's really fascinating and a growing field of medicine. So that's number 5. Before I get to number 6 through 10, if you could go like and subscribe this video. I'm really trying to grow this channel and make a difference, share the things that I know, and hopefully help people along the way. And if you could like and subscribe, that will help this channel grow and make a difference for other people. So thank you for doing that. Okay, number 6. Nurture resilience. Lowell grew up in the Great Depression. And he didn't always have things to be easy. He had to work for things. He, as I mentioned, he played marimba on the radio station. He would shovel snow at the university for 10 cents a day or something like that, just to earn a living. He always kept working. He kept going when times are tough. And I find that some of the best patients are those who keep going, even though it's not easy. I often love to quote Yoda. And not because I agree with him. Yoda in Star Wars always says, "Do or do not, there is no try." And I believe that actually that's incorrect. I believe that we can always try. We can always keep going even though things are hard. That's what Lowell did. That's what we can do as well. Even when our health is not ideal, our circumstances are not ideal, we can keep going. Number 7. Lowell spent time in nature. He loved to fish. He loved to be outside. He loved to garden. I was the beneficiary of that garden. It was amazing. Raspberries, tomatoes. He had a pear tree. I know he grew other things, but that's all I can remember right now. He loved to be outside, to be with nature, to be in the dirt, to be with plants, to be with animals. And I often talk about how the nature inside of us needs the nature outside of us. We need that opportunity to connect with nature. And the more we can do that, I believe it's going to add to our quality of life and our ability to live longer and healthier and happier. That's really aligns with the principle of the healing power of nature that naturopathic doctors like myself espouse and live with and work with our patients. Using nature, connecting with nature, staying close to it. Number 8, traveling the world. Lowell and his wife Bernice, they did some volunteer service work in Auckland, New Zealand for a couple years and loved it. He always kept learning them. I mean, he had a big library that he in his like living area, and he loved being part of the world, but being like learning, being part of cultures, learning, serving people, traveling, opening our minds to new ideas enhances our life a lot. We might not have the opportunity to travel, but we can always learn and grow. YouTube is a great place that we can experience the world even from our own cell phone, our own computer. It's amazing. Number 9, surround yourself with family. He had 5 children, and at the time of his, I had to pull it from his obituary, he had 30 grandchildren, 67 great grandchildren, and 2 great great grandchildren. Those 2 great great grandchildren are my kids. We're the first of his great grandchildren, my wife was, to have kids. And he had a very large posterity that has certainly grown since he passed away in 2018, so 7 years ago. His birthday, December 23rd, right before Christmas, his family always had a gathering together. When he turned 100, they filled the whole church gymnasium. They had food gatherings. He played music. The news came to film it, write a story about him, and it was awesome. I wasn't there; my wife was, but he always had gatherings. I was able to attend one of those later on. He was loved by so many people, and especially his family. And family gives so much meaning to our lives. Number 10 is to find humor in our lives and to smile. Lowell had an infectious smile. This is his picture. And he loved to make people's lives better, and one of the ways was to smile. I loved that. I loved his ability to do that. He brought his smile to his music. This is him, another picture that I took of him organizing his sheet music on his marimba in his basement that we lived in, a 60-year-old house, um, and and I was able to be part of his family. And this is me and my wife and our daughter when she was little, with Lowell, and as part of a 5-generation picture. He would joke that if he would read the obituaries, and if he couldn't find himself in it, he knew he was still alive. One time he was talking about dying, and I can't remember the exact words, but I told him, well, don't listen to the voices in your head. And it was just fun to joke. My wife and I joke about that still, that we can find joy in life. We can smile. We can make a difference. Whether it's through music, whether it's through family, whether it's through finding purpose, we can always find opportunities, and it's hard. It's our family recently read Pollyanna, and where Pollyanna plays the glad game, always finding something to be glad for, even though things are not going her way. And I remember a time recently when I was having just a hard day, a hard week or something. I thought about Pollyanna. I'm like, I would have a really hard time playing the glad game right now. I really would. I work with patients who experience depression, anxiety, and it's hard. There are indeed neurotransmitters imbalances. There's emotions. There's things that literally that are off, and it's real. I want to acknowledge that, and at the same time, I also acknowledge the power of positive thinking, of trying to just reframe our lives as little as we best we can. If we have a hard time with that, getting help from a therapist, a friend, a family member, a provider like myself. There's so many people out there wanting to help. So if you find yourself watching this video and you find yourself in a little down place, go get some help. Reach out. There are people that love you and want to help you, and can and will work out. It did for Lowell, and I know it can for all of us. There's 10 things that we can do to live our life with purpose, to increase our ability to find joy and meaning in our lives. Surround yourself with music, enjoy food, live your life with purpose, teach, tap into your good genetics, and if you need to, fix them. Nurture resilience, spend time in nature, travel the world and continue learning. Surround yourself with family and nurture those relationships, and find humor in life and smile. I love intersecting family history with medicine. It's one of my passions, and I want to do it more. I believe that we are more than our genetics. We are the product of our genes, the stories that live inside of us from generations above us that have passed on. Those are the inside stories, as Dr. Martha Driessnack has said. We're also the product of our external stories, the outside stories, our environment, who we are surrounding us. And the more that we learn, the more that we enrich our life around us, the more it can shape us, who we are on the inside. And if you are interested in this realm of family history or in medicine, genetics, or other things, or any of the things we talked about today, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. What would you be interested in learning more about? Let's continue this conversation, because I know that as we can look to those who have gone before, like an infectiously smiling Lowell Hicks, and learn things that will help shape us and shape our lives and our posterity for the future. So, happy birthday, Lowell. And to all of you, have a great day and be well. Talk to you later.